How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews, back with another review. A little bit of collab time. In the form of Magnify Brewings and Barrier Brewing, it's their Don't Squeeze. This is a 100% lupulin powdered beer. Fancy stuff. Magnify. Haven't actually done one of their beers in a while. Don't get out that way, or that part of Jersey, all that often. But had some of their stuff, typically coming from my buddy Jason, who got me this and a couple other beers. Thank you very much, Jason. Jason is a Magnify fan, let's put it that way. He has a nice little distributor down in Stroudsburg, PA, Penstrad Beverage. Check it out if you're ever in the area. Super good dude, but he picked me up a couple cans, so I was super excited to dive into them. So here we go. As far as what else it says in the can, Imperial India Pale Ale. It's 8% alcohol by volume. Like I said, Don't Squeeze, Magnify and Barrier Brewing. That'd be that. Hey, boys. It's cool. You know, it's Magnify's labels. I like them. Basically, they're labeled with a little bit of different words on them. So, there you go. Exciting stuff, huh? Wordsmith I am. So it says here, 100% hopped, 100% lupulin powder. So, they're just saying they're used just lupulin powder in this. No actual pelleted hops or, you know, whole leaf, whole cone hops, none of that stuff. Just straight up the keef of the hop world. So we'll see how that comes off. Pinky finger, nice creamy top to it. Pretty uniform bubbles, sans a couple stragglers. And she's got a subtle, very subtle, hazy, mostly pretty clear kind of haze to her. I mean, she's not magnifying glass, but she has a little bit of that haze going on. Other than that, pretty clear, really soft carbonation. That's pretty much it. So, does she look like an Imperial IPA? Sure. Does she look like a lot of the Imperial IPAs that Magnify makes, or a lot of these kind of want to make the hazy, crazy kind of beers? No. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily either. Let's see if we can get a nose on her. Okay, so I get it. Okay, you know, it definitely comes off as like an uber kind of hopped beer. You're getting equal parts kind of green, whether it be tomato stocky or even weedy. It's like both of those, and you're getting the kind of melon, kind of stone fruity peach, apricot kind of thing going on. But what all those have in common, everything's kind of coming up a little bit candied, a little bit sweet on top of it. So that weedy part's a little bit sweet, that kind of melon part's a little bit sweet, the stone fruit's kind of sweet. So it's a sweetness across the board, not like a malty overtop maltiness. It's like a candied version of that. So I'm not necessarily saying it's a super malt forward beer. Everything's coming off kind of somewhere north of confectionery sweet and somewhere south of granulated sugar sweet, somewhere around there. But that green is nice. That kind of green tomato stocky wheat thing is something I really dig, so it's definitely in there. And the fruit portion of the show is pretty nice, and that's pretty much it. All about the kind of fruitiness, juiciness, candied kind of juiciness, let's put it that way. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to dig it. That green thing kind of does it for me most times and not, so hopefully I do, but only one way to find out. Cheers. See, I dig that beer. I do. It's not my favorite beer in the history of mankind, but it has that green thing in the mouth, in the nose equally, and it's there in spades. And the bittering is just above that sweetness, and that is kind of doing it for me in this beer. It just works. The level of that kind of bittering is exactly where I want it to be in this kind of mouthfeel beer, which is a little bit thinner than what most people are used to, but in general, as far as beers go, pretty nice. So it's kind of giving you that kind of bittering you rarely get in these kind of beers. They kind of usually come off skew a little bit sweeter. And I think maybe that's the magic of that old lupulin powder. That hop keef will get you. You know, so you're getting a tomato stockiness, a little bit of weed, a little bit of kind of mango rindiness. Then you're getting a kind of candied, kind of fruited sweetness throughout it, but that bittering's big enough to kind of be on top of all that, to kind of keep it in check without it making it go kind of ape shit. Sweet wise, mouth feels nice for clear beer like this, and that's pretty much it. Fun. One of the more interesting beers I've had from Magnify. Sure, it's a collab. It's with Barrier, so you're going to get a little bit of influence outside of what they normally do. But, yeah, it's a fun departure from the typical stuff they do. So let's talk about it. It's one of the better Imperial IPAs I've had as of late. No. I do like my Imperial IPAs a skew specific way, but this is definitely one of the more funner ones. One of the more interesting ones. Again, outside of what typically is done by a lot of the breweries, and that's kind of refreshing. Value and availability, I ended up paying, I think it was like $18, maybe $18 to $20 for a 4-pack. Unfortunately, that's going price for a lot of beers nowadays, which is kind of, but yeah. Availability, brewery only, and just say if you like, what will you like this? This reminds me of a beer, and I can't put my finger on it. It reminds me a little bit of the beers that I had from Commonwealth Brewing Company. It's a brewery in New York, upstate New York. I think it was Commonwealth. I could be wrong. They had this kind of fruity, kind of new hop environment with this clear beer, this clarity thing going on, and that was like their shtick. I forget the brewery, which is kind of poopy, but anyway, it reminds me of that. So if you're into kind of the new school hop craze, but you want that old school kind of filtered refinedness, you're going to get that here. It is sweet. It's not overly sweet. The bittering is bigger than the sweetness, so if you're into kind of that too, if you like the bittering to be a little bit bigger than the actual sweetness itself, then this will be up your alley. And if you want something that's tasty, that excuse me, fits the mold of these new school kind of beers, but at the same time has that old school wrapped around it and is drinkable, chuggable, and fun, pick one up because it's tasty and fun. And it's beer, which is nice. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Didn't, down there, words and stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and tap. Best beers. This guy. All 4 of those places. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying some of this beer keef beers right now. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.